Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. In U.S. politics, 26-year-old Karoline Leavitt has been a source of intrigue ever since Donald Trump named her his White House press secretary. Now, Leavitt has become a source of ridicule. Recently, Leavitt seemed to panic and become robotic when Fox News asked her about the fallout from the Trump tariff policies.
Time for the president to do an Oval Office address, maybe, and try to explain to people that it might be bad for a little while, but it is, in fact, worth it?
I think the president has been incredibly clear, Jackie, on where he stands and what he envisions for the future of America.
The president has been incredibly clear on what he envisions for the future of America, Leavitt said. No.
Are you expecting a recession this year?
I hate to predict things like that.
He wants to restore this great country as the manufacturing superpower of the world.
Restore America's manufacturing. Never mind that the U.S. manufacturing reached an all-time high, a peak, during the Biden administration. Clearly, Karoline Leavitt sometimes gets uncomfortable spewing out the Trump nonsense. And in this interview, the trouble for Leavitt began when the Fox host Jackie Heinrich pushed back on Trump claims that U.S. automakers love the tariffs.
The American Automotive Policy Council has put out a statement sort of pushing back on this narrative.
Watch how much Leavitt starts blinking, a sign of anxiety.
They said revoking the exemption for Canada and Mexico and extending tariffs to auto parts with steel and aluminum will add significant costs for automakers, suppliers, and consumers. You know, steel and aluminum tariffs obviously could have big impacts. Is it time for the president to...
A long look down is another sign of stress.
Is it time for the president to do an Oval Office address, maybe, and try to explain to people that it might be bad for a little while?
Leavitt was blinking so much and pursing her lips so tightly, one might have concluded she was about to stroke out. Hopefully her physical health is fine, and it's just her mental health that appears impaired. Anyway, if Karoline Leavitt is beginning to melt down or crumble in front of the press, well, Leavitt has company in the White House. President Trump at an Oval Office news conference the other day flipped out at the mention of Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer.
And Schumer is a Palestinian as far as I'm concerned. You know, he's become a Palestinian. He used to be Jewish. He's not Jewish anymore. He's a Palestinian.
So Donald Trump is now the arbiter of who is Jewish in the United States? A few days earlier on Air Force One, Trump got steamed when a reporter asked if Russia's Vladimir Putin is disrespecting Donald Trump's efforts for a peace deal in Ukraine.
Is President Putin disrespecting you by attacking Ukraine when you're trying to make peace there? Is President Putin disrespecting you by attacking Ukraine when you're trying to make peace there?
What did he do?
Well, he's attacking Ukraine.
Is he disrespecting me?
Yeah.
Who are you with?
I'm Michael Burnbaum, Washington Post.
You've lost a lot of credibility.
And now Donald Trump is the arbiter of credibility. Trump's lack of credibility has been on display a lot recently amidst his economic war with Canada.
I called him Governor Trudeau because they should be the 51st state, really. It would make a great state, and the people of Canada like it.
The people of Canada like the idea of being part of the United States. Really?
The Canadian people loathe this idea. It is wildly unpopular. One recent poll showed 85% opposition to 9% in favor. I've seen opposition as high as 90%. So you can certainly find individual Canadians who support it, but the Canadian public writ large, absolutely not.
On True Social the other day, Trump wrote about steel and aluminum coming into the United States from Canada, one of the highest tariffing nations anywhere in the world. Fact checker Daniel Dale, is Canada one of the high tariffing nations?
Canada, in terms of global comparisons, is a low tariff country. The World Bank published a list of 137 countries' trade-weighted average tariffs in 2022. Canada ranked 102nd from the top, so not even close to the top. In fact, according to that data, Canada had a lower average tariff than the United States. Canada was at 1.37%, the U.S. was at 1.49%.
Okay, one more. Trump has been ranting a lot lately about U.S. banks somehow not having access to Canada.
Donald Trump saying Canada doesn't allow American banks to do business in Canada, but their banks flood the American market?
It's not true. U.S. banks have been operating in Canada for well over a century. More than a dozen are currently operating in Canada today. The Canadian Banking Association says it is 16, and those include well-known names, Wells Fargo, a U.S. Bank, J.P. Morgan, Bank of America.
What do you know? Donald Trump lied again. And while most of the world, including U.S. allies, prefer to deal in reality and facts, Donald Trump and his team seem most concerned about feelings. Specifically, Donald Trump's feelings. Trump Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick says that Canada could ease the tensions with the United States by expressing more gratitude to Trump.
Just say thank you. God knows, just say thank you. When the biggest client, the biggest trading partner, the most important counterparty you have, who really, really matters to you, the first thing you do is show immeasurable respect. Say thank you. I want to work it out with you. I want you to be happy. And that's what Donald Trump is going to make everybody realize. We feed the world. Please be kind to us.
And because the United States is more powerful and feeds the world, as Lutnick says, you, Canada, need to be kind to us. Be kind, even when Trump is behaving like a jerk, denigrating Canadian leaders and demanding Canada be a U.S. state. It is quintessential bullying. Bullies demand you just fork over your lunch money, and the moment you show defiance, the bully flips out and often proves to have a fragile or glass jaw. Well, Canada is hitting back hard at the United States and Trump with counter tariffs and hockey-fighting rhetoric.
Just want to say, elbows up, folks.
Elbows up.
We're keeping our elbows up, bud.
Elbows up.
It's elbows up time. We will never kiss the gangster's ring.
On this day, Donald Trump said again he is not going to bend on the metal, steel, and lumber tariffs against Canada. And Trump said the only change would be if Canada becomes a 51st U.S. state.
Canada only works as a state. It doesn't. We don't need anything they have. As a state, it would be one of the great states anyway. This would be the most incredible country visually. If you look at a map, they drew an artificial line right through it between Canada and the U.S. Just a straight artificial line. Somebody did it a long time ago, many, many decades ago, and makes no sense.
What really makes no sense, according to dozens of Trump-supporting CEOs and titans of industry, is Trump's trade war with Canada. The U.S. stock markets don't like it either. Within minutes of Trump's remarks about keeping the tariffs against Canada, the Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped nearly 2 percentage points. The S&P 500 also closed down and has now lost nearly 10% from its record close last month. Donald Trump may not be willing to admit the financial wipeout, and his panicked spokesperson Karoline Leavitt may prefer to blink and flail before she admits it. But even on Fox News, the Trump trade policies are tanking the U.S. economy. By the way, Trump supporters across the media spectrum are questioning the president's mental health.
I'm going to say this at risk of my job, Kelly, but what President Trump is doing is insane. It is absolutely insane. It is about the 8th reason we've had for the tariffs, and now he's saying he's putting 50% tariffs on Canada unless they agree to become the 51st state. That is insane. There is just no other way of describing it. And the trouble, Kelly, is that it shows there are no bounds around President Trump.
Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from Tyler, who wrote, "Get this man Trump out of here. Should be in prison, not the White House." I hear you. I look forward to reading your comments about Trump's robotic spokesperson Karoline Leavitt sparking ridicule. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.